Hi guys, we've just got back from watching 5 Feet Apart. If you don't know what it is, it's a film about cystic fibrosis where two patients fall in love with each other and for cross-infection reasons they've got to stay 5 feet apart. Obviously I've got cystic fibrosis, as we all know. Olivia's my girlfriend, so she supports me quite heavily with my cystic fibrosis. So while we was watching it, for a start, we was both crying pretty much all the way through it, and we both kind of took away different things from it. So I think it'd be a good idea to talk about what we liked and what we didn't like about the film. Although it was an amazing film and it shows cystic fibrosis in its full horrible glory, there were a few aspects of it which I noticed and Olivia noticed that just we didn't feel was right, and maybe what shouldn't have been in the film. So we'll just talk about that. We'll go through what we liked about it first. So what did you like about it?
I think that it was very, like you just said, it was very real. So a lot of people who know Chris don't see the things that I see. They see him as like perfect, Jim, always having a laugh. But then I see the other side sometimes where, you know, he is feeling a bit shit. Or he's doing his medication, he's doing his inhaler thing. So I think it's good for people who don't know anything about cystic fibrosis to watch it, to understand it a little bit more. So I think and I've told my friends actually to go watch it, just so that they understand my life a little bit more as well as Chris's.
So if you're wondering why we've magically teleported into the car, we was going to film the reaction yesterday and we was both feeling a bit too emotional about it, and every time we kind of started saying something,
I started crying.
Well, yeah. So we've gathered our thoughts today instead, and we're going to go through what we liked about it. I think the main thing to get out of the way first of all is the awareness that it brings for the CF community. The potential for it to spread the word about cystic fibrosis is massive. The only thing is though, we've been following the movie, haven't we? We've been waiting to watch it, and it was kind of hard to find out when it was on. And when we went there was only 2 people in the cinema with us. Obviously that was good from a cross-infection standpoint, because me and Livy just sat at the back and watched everyone like a hawk to make sure they weren't coughing. So it's good for awareness, but I don't think it's had the advertising that it should have. I've not seen a trailer for it other than YouTube and that one guy doing a reaction video, so I've not really seen much on it. We've not seen a trailer, have you?
No, I didn't hear about it until you mentioned it, and then everyone who I've spoke to hasn't heard about it, so I reckon it does need a lot more marketing.
Yeah, it's good to spread awareness about the cystic fibrosis in general. There's a good advert for the CF Trust before it, which I really liked. That's quite powerful, so we were crying before we even got into the film. We're crying at all the trailers because we knew it was about to come. So yeah, overall the film was quite upsetting, and we've not really spoke about it, have we? We've been kind of avoiding it. And one of the things that I liked, one of the main things that I liked of it, was the fact that it showed cystic fibrosis in its real light. I felt like it was a no holds barred look at it. It wasn't magically fantasized or anything like that. It was how it actually is. And for me, it brought back a lot of memories of when I'm in hospital and when I was a child. They're a bit younger than I am in the show. They're 18. I've got to 31. There's a lovely stat at the start of it as well about the 30.
No, that was enough to finish me off before it even started.
It starts with the slogan, 50% of people die before the age of 31. So I'm already destroying that stat. So it's a dark film. You go. What do you like about it?
It was good, but for me, it scared me a little bit. I think if you're connected to cystic fibrosis like I am, I think you can't help but relate it to your own life. So for me, I found it very, very scary, because there's things in there that were quite brutal, to be honest, weren't there?
Yeah, it was brutal. From my point of view, it was all stuff that I knew and all stuff that I'd been through. So while I had a lump in my throat all the way through it, me and Olivia kind of sat far apart. We didn't even touch each other's leg and do all that cute stuff, because we knew both of us were about to blow up and explode crying, so we didn't want to set each other off. Didn't work out, did it? Yeah, for me it was just kind of a a reminder and a confirmation of what it feels like to have cystic fibrosis, all the feelings and emotions. They're all things that I've been through as well, like I've fought, like both of the main characters have, in terms of treatment and living your life and what to do to keep yourself happy and things like that. So it struck a chord with me emotionally because of my experience. I think with Leslie was saying, it kind of gave her a look into what cystic fibrosis is like, and probably people who are a little bit more ill than me, so I don't know whether it scared you about me going forward. I don't know if that's the main reason why you're upset about it.
Yeah, I think that is the main reason why I'm upset about it, because of it was quite sudden, a lot of the things that happened, and there weren't a lot of explanation for some of the things that happened.
Do you mean like the guy?
Yeah, not to spoil it for anyone, but there's a sudden death in it, but there's no explanation as to why the person just died, and that for me scared me. So I've been googling stuff since watching the film.
What did you find?
Nothing.
Sudden death. Yeah, that was a bit odd for me as well. It didn't really explain one of the characters dying. Just so you're not too spoiled by it, it was not the main character, which is also probably a spoiler. But yeah, it kind of just flatlines and nothing else. But as far as I'm aware, with cystic fibrosis, it's not the kind of thing where you just drop down after, you know, eating your tea and you're dead. So I think it could have gone into that a bit more.
Another thing as well is, on the ward that they're all on, they're all like wandering around and talking to each other. Fair enough, they're wearing masks,
yeah.
But when I came to visit you for 2 weeks in hospital, it just was not like that. Everyone has their own room down the corridor, and you have to ask the nurses if you can leave your room, and they check, you know, to make sure there's no one in the corridors or anything like that, so, because of cross-infection. So that bit confused me a little bit. I don't know what it's like in America. That might be the way it is, but...
So that's a good point. I think you've highlighted what I thought was one of the main flaws in the film, and it's pretty much the whole storyline. I understand that 5 feet apart makes the magic, and obviously you've got to have a love story to sell a film, but I feel like that's the bit which kind of, I don't know, it kind of took away a little bit from me, because it, all the way through it, up until sort of the last 20 minutes of it, it did a good job of explaining cystic fibrosis and how bad it is, and then it got kind of overshadowed by movie magic. For me, I don't like to get near anyone with cystic fibrosis because of the risk of cross-infection. As Olivia said, when I'm in hospital, I'll just sit in the room on my own, away from everyone with cystic fibrosis, because I don't want to give them something, and by the same token, I don't want to catch anything off them either. So it kind of glorifies the idea of loving another patient with cystic fibrosis, but I feel like in reality, you probably shouldn't get close enough to do that anyway, and to do activities in the same room with each other and just kind of loosely stay away from each other 4 or 5 feet, it doesn't really make sense, and I don't think a lot of people would do that. Fair enough, there is some people out there who say, I don't really care about the risk of cross-infection and blah 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 blah, and I'm going to live my life I want, I'm going to be friends with who I want, but I don't think that's kind of the right attitude to be promoting. I think you feel the same about it, don't you?
Yeah,
you're always...
I'm a flapper anyway, so I'm glad that Chris stays away from other people with it, but not just for himself, for them as well.
Yeah. What I like is, because we've already cried our faces off about it, we're able to talk about it normally now. I think overall the film is amazing for cystic fibrosis. It's got a lot of potential to spread the word about cystic fibrosis. The love story is give or take, because you need that in Hollywood to sell things. You
need love anyway.
They do need love, we've got love. But yeah, what I'd say is go and watch it if you want a real look into what cystic fibrosis feels like for someone who has it, and also for parents, because it touches on that a little bit, and the feelings and emotions that people go through, because it is a horrible, horrible illness, and it does destroy lives. But more so than Olivia, I think I'd taken a positive out of it, that it's finally getting shown for what it is, and people feel the same as I do. So for me, it was a good watch. It was upsetting, it will upset you, and especially if you've got people with cystic fibrosis around you, but it'll also teach you to enjoy the time you've got with them and not to waste a moment. So that's always good, isn't it? So yeah, go watch it, go support cystic fibrosis, keep people like me alive.